What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Summertime Rendering. This is episode 24, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yep, so we're finally at the penultimate episode of the series. Picking up after the last episode, Ushio, who sustained heavy amounts of damage from Shide, is pretty much in bad shape, and she's unable to fight. And her body looks as if she's a child or something. But she said that she's able to do one more thing, which is to transfer herself into the shotgun, so she can use herself as a special kind of bullet to destroy Shide's armor.
Yeah. Well, and while she's I guess she needs a certain amount of time to be able to print herself, as she says it, into the shotgun.
Yeah. What's funny is she said she needs 2 minutes for it to finish. Yet the battle itself was almost 10 minutes in and of itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the first half of the episode was just a lengthy fight between Shinpei, being controlled by Ryunosuke, going up against Shide, and Shide, of course, he only has half his body, so he pretty much sacrifices one of the right arms to transfer over into his left side. So the animation style is pretty decent. Most of the time, it's just Ryunosuke fighting inside Shinpei's body, but at the same time, it's really taking a toll on Shinpei's physical body himself, even though as of this moment, he can't really feel anything. Yeah,
Shinpei has this plan to he kind of thinks twice about it, but around the beginning of the episode, he thinks about using Ryunosuke to transfer Ryunosuke into Shide's armor so that he could destroy it that way, which is pretty much what Hizuru did in the previous episode. So when he does end up trying it, it doesn't really work because Shide pretty much, I guess because it's been used before, Shide kind of has a way to counteract it. He basically throws Ryunosuke out of himself or something, and pins him down.
Yeah, and then of course in turn Shinpei collapses from all the physical damage that he sustained while Ryunosuke was possessing him. And
he's also slowly disintegrating because I think it was mentioned before that humans can't really they can't really survive in that realm. So technically now he's back to being human, since I guess he's no longer he no longer has Ryunosuke within him.
Yeah. And then soon afterwards, while Shinpei is slowly disintegrating, Shide finally reveals his reasons as to why he wants to pretty much end the world. It's because he wants to live, an immortal life. But due to the fact that Haine, or what was it, Hiruko, is starting to slowly die over time, that he's afraid that he's not going to be able to use her to sustain himself any longer. So he decides to just if he can't live any longer, he'll just pretty much end everything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was just a very generic, typical villain motivation. He wants to end the world and he wants to continue on with his immortality. Kind of remind me a little bit of I guess maybe a little bit of Father from Fullmetal Alchemist, because of it's kind of similar to his motivations a little bit, where he wanted to, he pretty much wanted to be a god. Well, I mean, Father more so wanted to be a god, but he also wanted the immortality aspect of that too.
Yeah, but of course, thanks to Shide's monologuing, it actually gave Ushio.
Well, that was another thing too. I was going to mention real quick, is that of course he does the typical villain thing where at the beginning of the episode where they're kind of planning things out with Haine. He just kind of stands there and lets them strategize, I guess, and then before attacking them.
Yeah, and like I said, because of the amount of monologuing that he gave out at near the end of that battle, it gave Ushio enough time to transfer herself into the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in turn, Shinpei manages to grab the shotgun and then finally, shoot the shotgun pellets into Shide, which results in his. Well, it's revealed that his actual old decrepit body that's been sustained for supposedly for hundreds of years ends up dying after his shadow armor gets killed in the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't exactly sure what was going on with that. I guess his one of his bodies was somehow interacting with himself in the Shadow Realm or in Tokoyo. I don't know. I guess he was kind of controlling things from the real world or something with his other body.
Yeah.
Is the way I interpreted it. Of course, I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but yeah, it's it was it looked like one of a really withered body or something. I guess maybe it was one of the bodies. Maybe he uses it as a spare or something like that. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it could have been his original body from
yeah,
when this whole thing started. But
because he was wearing the same clothes that we saw at one point in the flashback. So it's possible that it was actually the original body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and soon afterwards, after his armor dies, his old original wrinkled body from hundreds of years ago finally ends up dying as well. So soon afterwards, Ushio goes to erase, I guess, the baby Hiruko, who then in turn they all get I guess they travel back in time, back to the island when Hiruko was originally a whale before she ended up becoming Heine herself.
So yeah, and then of course the little girl that interacts with Hiruko is about to come and basically come and interact with the whale, but of course Shinpei somehow manages to stop her before she does, and even though Ryunosuke can't interact with her, Shinpei somehow is able to physically touch her, and of course the girl can't see him, but she thinks it's a ghost, so she runs off.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Ushio finally is able to erase Hiruko.
Yeah, which in turn I
mean, I feel like I guess this means that the events of the series or everything with the shadows at least is not going to happen if they're basically if they're erasing the whale, then none of that happens. I mean, that at least that's how I interpret it. I mean, if they basically change the past, so then therefore the future is going to change to some extent too.
Yeah. Yeah, and soon afterwards, all the shadows disappear. The baby Hiruko ends up disappearing. Shadow Heine and then Shadow Ryunosuke both end up disappearing, but not before they ask each other if they somehow get reincarnated, that they'll end up being friends again. So
I feel like that's definite foreshadowing because I mean we have one more episode. I think that in this, because they changed the past, in the next episode Heine is probably going to be a normal person. She's going to be a normal girl, and then Ryunosuke is going to also he's going to be also he's going to be normal. He's probably going to be friends with her or something like that. I think things are going to happen differently.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's setting up for.
Yeah, and soon after, all the shadows disappear. Ushio is of course the only remaining shadow left, and she decides to do one more thing before Shinpei asks if they can do one more thing together. But of course Ushio decides to do it herself, and we know Shinpei at this point in time is about to die because his physical body is just in a very bad state. and then of course, soon afterwards, Ushio decides to use the last remaining ounce of her power to, I guess, traverse through time. And then it's revealed that she did end up sending the phone message to what was it, to Hizuru, which allowed her to get to the island. And then it gets us back to where the original episode started, in which she gives Shinpei the right eye.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. I anticipate, of course, we know Hizuru, of course, she's alive again. I fully believe Ushio is also going to be alive, since if the shadows aren't around, then the reason for Ushio's death, like she never would have died then, if you think about it, like, because the shadow was what drowned her. So if she didn't die, then yeah, I mean, she must still be alive. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of those endings where everybody survived, but basically because of time travel shenanigans, essentially. So the characters that died are going to come back. I mean, I don't necessarily mind that kind of ending, but it does feel kind of like I've seen this before. Like, it feels very familiar. Like, I've seen this kind of ending so many different times. Like, I don't know. And not that it's, like I said, not that it's bad, but I kind of know what to expect from the last episode at this point. There could be some stuff in there that surprises me, but I think a lot of stuff's going to be different. Or I mean, well, not different, but I mean, people are going to be alive that died originally, and like Ushio, for instance, Ryunosuke is going to be alive, I anticipate. Yeah, it's I don't know. I like this episode. I thought it was a decent final confrontation with Shide.
And of course, we're down to one more episode left, which is obviously going to be the epilogue episode, which with the shadows being erased through the beginning of time, then we're pretty much going to see that everyone else's lives like living normally without the shadows intervening on that island in the first place.
I think another thing that's going to be different, of course, is what's the priest's name? Karakiri. Like, he's not going to be there. It'll probably be more like maybe like his offspring or something like that. It won't be him. Because that wouldn't make sense if the whole shadow thing doesn't happen. Then and of course, with Heine or Hiroko being non-existent, that means Ryunosuke and pretty much everyone else aren't going to die from all those events. So it's possible we might see like an older Ryunosuke, if that's the possibility. Yeah, an older Ryunosuke, and I think I did mention Heine before. That is true. Like, Heine wouldn't really, or Hiroko, like she. It's more likely it'll be like if she is there, it's going to be like a descendant of her, something like that. It'll just be kind of more or less exactly the same character, but just be more like a descendant of her or something. I think that's what we might see, like her reincarnation, like they were saying in this episode. I think that's more, probably what we're going to see in the last one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I mean, we are down to one more episode left, and which is kind of sad, because I kind of enjoyed the show, over the past 6 months already. So hopefully we'll get to see how the last episode plays out, and hopefully we'll get some kind of answer of when this is going to come out on Disney Plus over the stateside.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be really interested in how they're going to handle that. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this episode. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
It's a good episode. I am definitely looking forward to the epilogue episode. I think it's pretty obvious in like how they're gonna, how this whole thing's gonna play out now that the shadows are being non-existent.
Yeah, I'm predicting definitely more of a happy ending. Not that I mind that, but I think it's pretty predictable at this point what's going to happen, but I guess the series could still throw some curveballs at the end. I guess we'll see. But yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.